Tuchel was asked about the similarities between Lukaku and Kane, and he said there's one big one. They score decisive goals and they love scoring them. Who would you rather have in your side, Lukaku or Kane?
Well, right now, oddly, I'm going to say Romelu Lukaku, just because of the form that he's shown so far this season, clearly in better form of the two. And to Craig's point, though both these played in the Euros, it seems like England's deep run maybe is affecting Harry Kane a bit more. I more want to believe it's after the failed transfer to Manchester City and then not rejoining Spurs in a timely fashion has led to this slow start from Harry Kane. All other things being even, any other time you'd ask me that question, I would say Harry Kane, no question. But right now, Romelu Lukaku is proving the striker worthy of the transfer fee and worthy of the praise that he's gotten over the last couple of seasons. Would
you go for him, Craig, over Kane?
Well, I think, you know, Kane in a better side would be scoring goals. I saw a report today, actually, from England that Chelsea apparently, allegedly, had some sort of discussion with Kane's representatives and with possibly Tottenham. But I think the fee... I think ultimately Chelsea would have taken Harry Kane if the money had been right. I don't think there's a doubt about that, but I don't think they could meet, like Man City, the valuation from Daniel Levy, and so went for the other target, which was Romelu Lukaku. But in my opinion, Kane would still be above Lukaku as a striker.
That would be interesting, though, wouldn't it? Can you imagine that, Frank? How would that be seen if Kane were to go to Chelsea? Obviously, if he was to go to Man City, it might be a bit more acceptable for the Spurs fans.
Yes, it would have been kind of something very sad and something that they could be very upset about, you know, if Kane would have signed for Chelsea. But that's possible, and it happened to many clubs. We saw players, you know, signing from Barcelona to Madrid or from Manchester City to, Manchester United and Manchester City. We saw that with Schmeichel at the time, you know, but everything is possible. It would have been nice for Chelsea to see Kane, but I'm happy to see Lukaku. I mean, Lukaku is doing the job. He needed to show revenge to what he's shown in the first place. And I'm happy to see Lukaku, you know, scoring goals for Chelsea. Not being that perfect, I would say, because I think he still has, you know, something to prove, and he still has something to show more that he shows. But so far so good, you know, in Champions League, no many chances, but he scored a goal, and that's it. That's enough for us.
But Jules, of course, Lukaku is in your projected 11 for the weekend. Would you like to talk us through it?
Yeah, that's right. I think Tuchel will play his strongest team. We know that N'Golo Kante is back training, but I still expect him to keep Jorginho and Kovacic in front of the back three, because he worked really well against Aston Villa, for example. Kovacic brings a lot with the ball to this team. The front three of Lukaku, Mount and Havertz, again, I think this is certainly the strongest front three that you can have. And then you've got the two wing backs in Reece James and Marcos Alonso. And I think, again, the back three with Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta and Rudiger.
When you look at that lineup, you wonder what's going to happen with Timo Werner.
I don't think many people are losing sleep over what's going to happen with Timo Werner. Maybe Timo Werner himself, but this is a big boys' game. And listen, he scored goals in the Bundesliga. I hear people that tell me that, but he's not in the Bundesliga anymore. He's in the Premier League, and he didn't do it last year regular enough. In fact, he was in the final third. You just couldn't trust him. He was rushing everything. He was stumbling. He was almost panicking in his finishing. We saw it for Germany again a week or 10 days ago, you know, scuffing and missing really good chances before he did get a goal. But look, Chelsea were a little unfortunate that they actually played quite well at Liverpool until they went down to 10 men, and then it was a struggle for them. But yeah, Timo Werner is, you know, I don't think we should get hung up in the players that are not playing. The players that are not playing for a reason, and that's because Chelsea have a strong squad. Chelsea have an ambition this year to push City and Liverpool all the way, if we think that's the two teams that are going to be up there. And so that's what building a challenging championship team is all about. And I don't give two hoots if Timo Werner has scored umpteen goals for Germany or Leipzig or wherever. He's struggling with Thomas Tuchel at the moment because he has got better players.
And the truth is, so many teams' successes are dependent on the depth of their squads. Timo Werner has a role to play. It's just not in the starting 11 and probably in the biggest games. But you may want to rest Romelu Lukaku from time to time, given how many games you expect Chelsea to be playing this season, especially if they go deep in all those competitions. He has an asset in that he's quick, he stretches defenses, so maybe that's something that Thomas Tuchel uses from time to time. But no real surprise that he's going to be playing second fiddle, certainly as far as the striker goes, to Romelu Lukaku. But again, it's about the squad here.
It's been very limited minutes for him so far, though, Jules. What does the future look like for Werner?
Well, the problem for Timo Werner, one is that he cost them a lot of money, and if he was to leave, they would want to recoup some of that money. And secondly, his wages are huge, and not many clubs right now can pay him his Chelsea wages. So I think in terms of depth of squad, and I think Shaka is right, Thomas Tuchel likes him to start with, and two, I think counts on him for the season, not just for those big games, not for those big games, and not certainly to be a starter for the whole season, but you would expect him to play around the 30-mark games, I think, either coming off the bench or starting in lesser games or in the cups and things like that, because I think he would be important at some point. He will have a role to play. So for Tuchel, he's not going anywhere. And for Werner, it's down to him to try to get back into the starting 11 by showing on the pitch when he plays that he deserves to be there.
Hold on a minute. Chelsea have had a particularly good start to the season. They've gone out and strengthened, spent over $100 million or euros, whatever it is, on one of Europe's best strikers, and we're talking about a guy that's not playing. What the hell's happening here? Timo Werner's going to be on the bench. When Romelu Lukaku walked in the door, and by the way, Timo Werner knew all summer that Chelsea were going to go and sign a striker because he wasn't good enough last year, and he's not going to play, and as Shaka said, he's going to be a squad player. Right, there's a big game at the weekend, so Timo Werner is a sideshow. Frank.
Yeah, but Craig, it's nice to talk behind the scene, you know. Sometimes people are very important. They're going to come on and, you know, they're going to bring something. As you said, you know, he will have his role to play, and it would be important at some point. Yeah, he's been disappointing, but I think he has a role to play, and we have the duty to talk about him because, as Jules said,
about Donny van de Beek and Jesse Lingard. Let's talk about David Origi.
To your point, is Timo Werner regretting not moving in the summer? If you're saying you knew this was going to happen.
I don't care what Timo Werner does or not. I have no interest. And Timo Werner regrets not moving or not being let go. I don't care. I'm evaluating the game. Julien's picked a team, which he thinks he's not playing. Romelu Lukaku started the season well, and Timo Werner is a bit part player. Right, like Jesse Lingard is, like Donny van de Beek is, like Edison Cavani is probably going to be now under Ronaldo. They're bit part players. What else do you want me to say?
OK, Robbo, what is Chelsea's weakness then? We've talked about their depth and the good things. What's the weakness?
I would still say Marcus Alonso's had a great start to the season. He's keeping Ben Chilwell out. But every time I see him recover and have to defend in 1v1 situations, he always looks as though his forward runs are much quicker than his recovery runs. And when he does get in 1v1 situations, he can be beaten. So that would probably be the only weakness I could see with Chelsea at the moment. You know, his defensive qualities. Going forward, he's been excellent. He's a threat at the far post. He'll get crosses into the box, but he can be poor defensively. That's their big weakness.
Yeah, Tuchel actually said results are the only thing that matters after that slight win over Zenit in the Champions League.
He didn't say what all that matters is the players that are not playing are happy. And is that not what he said? No.
He didn't say that.
No, that's all. Yeah. This beats me, this one.
Not in that anyway.
Well, let's talk about Timo Werner.
No.
Shall we, Shaq?
I've said
he's not playing.
Let's talk about their biggest stumbling blocks then. Could that be a problem?
Man
Player
City.
Rotation and
Listen, Chelsea's biggest stumbling blocks, I think they have a squad. Certainly they have a starting 11 that's good enough to go deep in competitions. The biggest stumbling blocks is that there are others in the league who can boast exactly as much. And we've spoken about them, whether it's City, Liverpool, maybe not a good week to be talking about Manchester United and going deep in competitions, but I expect them to. And that really is what it comes down to. Which of those squads Lady Luck smiles on most, who just manages their rotations best. And that comes down to experience of the managers. And the one thing you cannot question about Thomas Tuchel is his experience in managing big clubs and going deep in multiple competitions. But that's the only defining line here, other than something that we're not anticipating as we did, last season with Van Dijk or anything of the sorts. Just the unknowns.
I think the stumbling block is if they don't find a way to do things differently when there is some adversity. Man City generally have found a different way to break teams down, not all the times, but generally. And I think...
But saying that, Craig, I think this Chelsea team are better equipped to do things differently than City are right now.
Well, potentially without them having a striker.
Yeah. That's right.
But over the piece, I think City have. And I think sometimes with Chelsea, where it could stumble if they get in this sort of slow passing game, possession that they sometimes do, and they continue to try and go down the middle and break teams down there. And as Robbo pointed out, with a guy in form like Lukaku, if it's not working with those narrow, wider players, then you're going to make sure you get crosses into the box and utilise the wide positions, particularly with that physical presence of Lukaku up front. You don't want him to get frustrated with this, knocking it from side to side to side, as they have done at times last year against weaker opposition and played into their hands. I think if they get caught in that slow game where they sort of run out of ideas, then that could be the stumbling block to them. And they shouldn't be in that scenario, because now they have a guy who they can get it wide, if it's their wingers or their wing-backs, whatever it is, and put crosses in the box. There's no excuse for not doing it. Last year you might have said, well, I'm knocking it in the box unless Havertz was playing. We've got Mount and we've got Timo Werner. Now there's no excuse for saying, right, OK, plan A is not working. Let's go to plan B, get it wide, whip good balls in, and give Lukaku a chance. At least that's the only... If they get caught without a plan B, I think that could be the stumbling block.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.